Hey everyone, so it's been confirmed Awakening is hitting the PS4 as of the 25th of September. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into this and cover off what you need to know and how you can prepare for Awakenings to make sure that you're getting the most out of your time once the patch hits. So I'm not going to cover the quest line because they vary depending on your class. However, at the end of both or all of the quest line, you will get your hands on two different Awakening weapons. One will be green grade, which you can see the ultimate version on the left, and the other will be a blue grade base that you can see on the right of the screen. Now the reason that I've not put the blue or the green up and I've gone straight to ultimate is because this is the first thing you're going to want to make sure you have, and that's an ultimate reform stone for your weapon. So that's something to keep in mind if you have an abundance of sharps and an abundance of grade 3 weapon reform stones or the hunter seals to get them, is that the prices on these will skyrocket. So to create them yourself, you need 1 sharp and you need 10 grade 3 weapon reform stones. Definitely make sure you have this in advance. You don't want to be buying this on the day because the prices will increase. Now the reason you want to ultimate this weapon is because it's going to give you extra stats for the cheapest possible way. The next thing you want to do is make sure you have enough sharps stocked up and enough weapon stones stocked up so that you can upgrade the weapon of your choice. Getting this weapon to try as soon as possible is something you really want to do, and if they do release Tet and Pen, then getting it to Tet shouldn't be too difficult to do, and again it's something that you should really aim for and strive to do, and then you can go back to enhancing boss gear, picking up Zarka if you haven't already got it, and thinking about offhands. So in my personal opinion, the best weapon that you can go for is going to be the green grade item, which you can see on the left at ultimate. Now the reason for this is it's going to give you extra species damage or extra all species damage, making it the best awakening weapon for grinding PvE mobs. It's also the green grade. That means that there is a vendor in Altanova that sells these. That means that you're not going to have to use memory fragments, which are currently in a state of flux, and you're going to be able to upgrade this item a lot quicker. You're not waiting on CM prices to change. You don't need memory fragments. You don't need to wait for somebody to sell these to you. You can go ahead and get them relatively easily. The blue grade, on the other hand, although it is technically a better item in terms of it has higher AP, it has higher damage to humans with the additional damage being at plus 11 at try, making it statistically better for PvP. It is also incredibly more expensive to enhance in the long run. You're going to have to part with either memory fragments or be very quick on the pre-orders to snipe these off the marketplace. What I would suggest though is, like I've said, going for that green grade, making it ultimate, getting it to try, and selling your blue grade to the people that are going to be using them, and then basically waiting out for when Dandy hits. We don't know if Dandy's going to be coming straight away. It would be surprising to see Kuranda added to the game immediately. However, I wouldn't imagine it will be much longer before we do see Kuranda and have access to Dandelion weapons. Therefore, going the green grade and going there as cheap as possible, getting it to try or Tet, is going to overall give you the best bang for your buck and allow you to grind out PvE mobs that little bit faster. You really will notice the difference once you get your awakening weapon leveled up, so this should be your priority. The reason being is that a lot of classes spend a lot of their time doing their damage through their awakening, whereas they use their mobility or their CC through their pre-awakening. That doesn't mean that you should neglect your main hand weapon. That should definitely be the next thing that you look to get to try if it isn't already. And if you don't already have a Zarka, that should definitely be leveled up and hitting try as soon as possible. If you're currently looking at saving money, then this is going to be one of the biggest investments for you on day one of the patch. I would definitely get pre-orders on your sharps now and start gathering continuously. Start hammering that energy into gathering and making sure that you are picking up as many sharps as physically possible. I will put a description in the video that will also cover the life skilling route to get guaranteed additional hards and additional sharps, so check that one out. But for now, let's move on to the next thing that should be on your list when preparing for Awakening, and that's the skill point grind. What you can see on here are links to sorcerer skill builds. I'll put these in the description just for people to have a look at if they are playing the Sorc class. However, you can find them through the FAQ on the Sorc Discord. What I will say is what you can notice from this is the huge jump in skill point requirement from level 60 to 61. Now these builds do include Rabums and they do also include Absolutes. Chances are we won't get Rabums, however we may have Absolutes available to us during this Awakening patch. What I would say is that you want to make sure that your main character is at least over 1,000 skill points so that you can pick up what is considered to be close to an endgame grinding build or at least an endgame PvP build. You will find that you won't be able to pick up absolutely everything that you need, so you will look at rebalancing your skills. From previous experience, they do provide us with a skill reset. However, these skill resets have a really short timer on them that tend to last around 24 hours, and they do expire, which means you need to nail your build as quickly as possible. Being at least level 59 leading into the Awakening patch is going to really help you. So if you aren't already aware of it, from level 57 to 59, the quickest way to level currently is to go back and do all of the general quests around the Balanos, Serendia and Calphian regions. It works out that it takes around 4 hours to get from 57 to 59 if you really hammer those quests, and it'll definitely set you up. From there, I would spend the next week or so focusing on grinding skill points. So looking at places like Sorsons for skill points, because that's going to be a fantastic grind spot. Then you've got places like Mains and Rogues that might be a little bit less contested. They give decent skill experience, not the best, but they do also provide you with some relatively good income. Overall, those skill points, along with those hards or those sharps for your enhancing, are definitely going to be the fundamentals for preparing for the Awakening patch. I would also be very hesitant to re-roll off a class just as soon as Awakening hits. Look through the videos, see what the Awakening brings to the class, and have a play around with it for a while. One of the first things that people do is jump off classes as soon as the Awakening hits because they don't like the feel of that class. It does massively change how certain classes play. Sorceress, for example, has been relatively straightforward. From the pre-Awakening phase, you hit Dream of Doom, you Dark Flame spam, you use Shadow Eruption, GG, you either combo somebody or die. Once Awakening hits, Sorceress is a whole other beast. The combos are a lot more difficult to pull off, and it's going to take a lot more effort and a lot more learning to become good at this class. The same can be said for a lot of other classes in the game, so be very cautious when you are picking a class and make sure that you take things with a pinch of salt. Don't expect to be a god at the class within a couple of days. I myself have been playing Sorc for a couple of years and I still learn something new every time I play the class. But anyway, let's move on to the next point and making sure that you are getting prepared and ready for the Awakening patch when it lands. So following on with the theme of re-rolling, if you don't already have a Zarka, this is going to be one of the prime times to pick up your main hand weapon. What I would look to do is put pre-orders on things like plus 15, Pry, Duo and Try. Obviously, it's going to be hard for you to put the pre-order on all of these. Just put one up on whatever you can afford. The reason being is a lot of people are going to be switching to new characters, especially if Striker and Lana are released, then people will be looking to switch onto those as soon as the patch lands. Rerolling, especially from classes like Sorceress and Ranger, are really popular, and also there are a lot of Wizard and Witch players that will be switching off them onto their new mains. A lot of people use Wizard and Witch purely as a grinding class, which means that they often switch the Zarka off and put a Black Abyssal weapon on this class, same for Rangers, and they sell their Zarkas in order to pick them up for their new class. Like I said, this is prime time to pick up your main hand weapon. If you have the money available, definitely look to get a pre-order up. I would prioritise this over things like Beg's Gloves, Muskin's Boots, Dimtree Armour. If you've got pre-orders up on them, rip them down and put them up on the main hand weapons. Picking one of these up at anything above plus 15 is fantastic in terms of cost saving. You're not going to have to go through the rigmarole of potentially using hundreds of memory fragments to repair this. You're not going to have to pay for artisans to try and make that cheaper. And especially with how the CM market price is at the minute, these weapons are never going to be this low priced again. If Tet and Pen does come into the game, then you will see that a lot of people will be pushing for these upgrades, which will inflate the price of memory fragments. It will completely dry up the market, in terms of your hards and your sharps for people looking at fail stacking and also enhancing. So getting these now before the price starts to jump up is really key to enhancing your gear or improving your gear as quickly as possible without going through the process of enhancing yourself. Now, a lot of people are really against the enhancing process, so this is definitely one of the best and the key points in the game, at least so far, for where you'll be able to pick these weapons up cheaper than previously available. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on is maximizing your alts. Now, currently there is an event on where you level every one of the classes to level 50 and you benefit from getting hards, sharps and a ton of silver. Definitely go ahead and finish this if you've started it or if you're in need of the materials. And what I would say is that each one of those level 50 characters you want to push to level 55. Now, I'll put a link in the description to a video that covers exactly why you want to do this, but essentially for every level 55 character that you run through the Valencia storyline, you will get a 50 fail stack free, along with a bunch of 30s and 20s. Now you can do this on every character, regardless of class, regardless of if you've done it before. This means that to benefit from this maximum, you want to level all of these classes to 55, benefit from the current event that's on until October to get the hards and sharps, use the 55s to finish the Valencia questline, which doesn't require you to do Medaya or the Calphian questline in advance. You can just do it on a fresh 55, and then from there you want to delete all of those characters, providing that none of them are life skill alts. Once you've deleted them all, I would advise recreating every one of the characters. However, this time you want to use the same class. So for example, I will use Sork for all of my alts. This will mean that I can essentially put all of my gear onto every single one of the alts. I don't need additional weapons, I don't need additional offhands, I can just do it really quickly. I can then utilize either my guild to help boost characters, which we already do for each other currently and will continue to do in Valencia, or I can quickly power level them myself up to level 55, complete the Valencia questline again, pick up the free 50 fail stack along with a bunch of 30s and 20s, delete that character. While it's deleting, I can then run through on another version or another Sork in my characters, from my character screen, one of my alts, and rinse and repeat this process. Now this might sound time consuming, it might sound tedious, and it really is. However, the value of completing the 55 in the Valencia storyline is absolutely huge. Now you can go a step further and you can get to level 56 and you can awaken each one of those alts. If you do that, you will get obviously the blue awakening weapon, which you can sell on the marketplace, usually comes in for a couple of million. You can also do a quest line that will give you 2 concentrated weapon stones. This can again be done on every character regardless of how many times you've done it. You can rinse and repeat this. There are a lot of people that will invest the time needed to do this because it saves you so much silver. It allows you to sell your weapon stones, it allows you to sell your armor stones, and it allows you to invest all of your money in accessories. You can get the free 50 fail stacks, which are perfect for trying accessories. They're perfect for tet attempts on weapons to begin with and tet attempts on armor to begin with. It basically gives you a free staging point to improve your gear. Overall, the process, once you get it nailed and once you get the hang of it, takes around 4 hours per character from start to finish. If you have a guild that are willing to help you boost and you return the favour for other people, you can actually do 1 to 55 in about 2.5 hours, then give yourself another 40 minutes or so for the quest line, and you can smash that out roughly 3 to 4 hours per character. If you spend even just a day doing that and you do 6 characters, for example, that's 6 50 fail stack Advice of Valks, which allows you to start your fail stacking from 50 rather than 0. As I'm sure you can appreciate, anybody that's been doing the enhancing, this is absolutely phenomenal use of your time and will save you a ton of money. Anyway guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I wanted to cover off how you can prep for Awakening and things you can look to do in advance to make sure that you're maximizing your time once Awakening hits. There is Valencia coming as well, so I've also done a video that covers prepping for Valencia. The 2 of these videos do kind of intertwine, but they're definitely worth having a look at both of them for each of their merits. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I guarantee there will be a lot more content rolling out as we go into Valencia on the lead up to Camasilvia and beyond. Obviously check out my series The Grind as well, where I keep you updated on what I've been doing week on week to improve my gear. This week includes enhancing boss armor and how I've managed to progress my gear, along with some footage from Node Wars and a little bit of information off the back of how the guilds are starting to play out on server. Anyway guys, thanks for spending the time watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.